What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks in my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets, receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $2,000 just yesterday, and another member who won $730 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Michael Garcia T9V who said great analysis, and also shouts out to JT7303 who said good stuff. So shout out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is none other than Angel Reese for 13.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Angel Reese, we actually have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those last 5 games, you see on July 23rd, faced off against Minnesota, had 11 points there. Then July 30th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had 22 points. August 20, faced off against Seattle, had 19 points. Then 21 points against New York Liberty on August 22nd. And then August 24th, against Connecticut Sun, actually had 11 points there. So it is pretty interesting to see, obviously, looking at actually, when it comes to Angel Reese, we have definitely seen her go on the under, as I mentioned, 2 out of the last 5, and her average over the last 5 is also 16.8. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know Angel Reese and Chicago Sky face off against Las Vegas Aces. Now, looking at Las Vegas Aces and their matchup, Chicago Sky, looking at where both these teams do rank, starting off with Chicago Sky, unfortunately, Chicago haven't really been doing the greatest job, because they do come in at the 12th spot in the WNBA. So not only do they have the 12th spot in the WNBA, but they also rank last in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 9 wins and 27 losses. That's a 25% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 5-14 from home, 4-13 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it has definitely been pretty tough for Chicago Sky, and they are hoping and looking to turn this thing around. But, we don't really know, and it does look like it may be a little bit too late. Now, coming into their matchup, which is Las Vegas Aces, we do know Aces do actually rank 3rd in the WNBA. Now, they've been on an absolute tear lately, because not only do they rank 3rd in the WNBA, but they rank 2nd in the Western Conference. Now, they find themselves in a pretty good position because they actually have a record of 24 wins and 14 losses. That is a 63.2% win percentage. They are 14-5 from home, 10-9 from away. But where we see the massive shock to everyone is that over their streak lately has actually been a 10-game win streak. Yes, you heard that right, a 10-game win streak. So Angel Reese is facing off against a team that definitely has the hot hand right now. And looking at Las Vegas Aces, we do actually see that they do rank 8th when it comes to points allowed. So, although they have been on a tear, they still do rank very low when it comes to points allowed. However, coming into this matchup, we do very much like this situation, as we do still think and do believe that Angel Reese is going on the under, due to the fact that when we look at Las Vegas Aces, we do actually know that they do a very good job at restricting points to the forward position. So, for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely are expecting someone like Angel Reese to go on the under, due to the fact that, when we look on a per position basis, we do definitely see that, Angel Reese has done not only just a decent job, but she is a forward, and Aces will probably have a lot of their attention and focus on her. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. So keep an eye out for Angel Reese coming into this matchup. So Angel Reese, 13.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about A'ja Wilson. So there's only 2 games for today, so some of the, picks may have some interlap, but we do very much like this pick for 25.5 points for A'ja Wilson, and this one is for less. Now, looking at A'ja Wilson, we have actually seen her go in the under in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we do see when it comes to A'ja Wilson, not only have we seen her go on the under in 1 out of the last 5, but we see on August 16th, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had 30 points there. August 18th, faced off against Dallas, had 34 points. Then August 20th, faced off against Atlanta, had 32 points. Then August 22nd, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had 19 points. Then on the 36th, faced off against Washington Mystics on August 24th, and actually had 36 points, in that matchup. So, we have seen A'ja Wilson do a decent job, and her average over the last 5 is 30.2. And we do know Las Vegas Aces face off against Chicago Sky. Now, we do very, very much know this situation, as we have already mentioned their ranking, but just to quickly revisit again, we do know Chicago Sky do come in at the 12th spot in the WNBA, but also rank last in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 9 wins and 27 losses, and on top of that, when we look at their last 10 games, they actually have a record of 2-8, which is interesting to see. So, it's definitely been a little bit interesting there. Now, as I mentioned before, they face off against Chicago Sky, where Chicago Sky do they do face off against Aces, and Aces do rank 3rd in the WNBA. Now, they have a record of 24 wins and 14 losses. However, over the last 10 games, as we've mentioned, they are on a 10-game win streak, so they are actually 10-0. So, they've definitely surprised a lot of people. A'ja Wilson has been playing out of her mind and has definitely got them in the right situation. Now, when we look at Chicago Sky, we do actually see Sky rank 11th when it comes to points allowed. Now, coming into this matchup, we still do very, very much like the under for this one. And a big reason being is that when it comes to A'ja Wilson, she is a center, and Chicago Sky actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the center position. So, for that reason, we do very, very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely are expecting someone like A'ja Wilson to go on the under as well, due to the fact that A'ja Wilson is the star player for this Aces team. And what we have seen time and time again is that Chicago Sky actually do, or their defensive strategy that they do like to run, is to really hone in and focus on superstars of other teams and like to restrict them as much as they can. So, coming into this matchup, we are definitely expecting that coming into this game. A'ja Wilson is a great player, but we are expecting a lot of the defensive attention to be on her, which could definitely affect that greatly. So for that reason, A'ja Wilson, 25.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than actually Marina Mabrey. So Marina Mabrey, great player, and this one is for 16.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Marina Mabrey, we actually do see or have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, it has definitely been an interesting time for Marina Mabrey, but we have seen her on August 14th faced off against Chicago, had 10 points there. August 18th faced off against Indiana, had 27 points. Then August 20th faced off against Washington, had 9 points, and 7 points against Washington on August 22nd, and then 20 points against Chicago Sky on August 24th. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Marina Mabrey, we have definitely seen her, do a pretty poor job over the last 5. Now, coming into this matchup, we do very, very much like this situation, as we do actually see when it comes to Marina, Connecticut Sun face off against New York Liberty. So as I mentioned before, there is only 2 games for today, and this is actually the second game that we've mentioned. Now, when it comes into this game, we do actually see, Connecticut Sun starting off with where they rank. We do know Connecticut Sun do find themselves in the actual 11th spot in the WNBA, which is interesting to see. Not only that, but we also do know when it comes to actually, Connecticut Sun, they have a record of 9 wins and 27 losses. So it's definitely been a little bit interesting there. On top of that, they face off against New York Liberty, but starting off with Connecticut or continuing on with that, we do know they have a home record of 6-12, an away record of 3-15, and also a 3-game win streak so far. So they have been doing pretty well in that sense. Now, when we look at their matchup, they face face off against none other, as we've mentioned, against, you know, New York Liberty, where Liberty actually do find themselves in the 5th spot in the actual WNBA. So not only do they rank 5th in the WNBA, but they also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 22 wins and 15 losses. That's a 59.5% win percentage. They are 14-5 at home, 8-10 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at both of these teams, they are in the same conference, but definitely in a different position. And looking at New York Liberty, we do know Liberty do actually rank 7th when it comes to points allowed. So they don't really rank too bad, but they also don't really rank too decent. Very mid-tier in that sense. But coming into this very next game, we do very much like the situation, because we do know New York Liberty actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. And this is obviously due to the fact that Marina Mabrey is also a guard, so we are definitely expecting, you know, a huge situation there. We are definitely expecting someone like Marina to actually go on the under, since she's also really struggled against, you know, her actual, you know, line in the sense of getting close to it. She's definitely really struggled, and that's why coming into this matchup, we do very much like the under, as when we look at the last 3 out of the last 5 games that she has had, only one of those she did go on the over, and that was against Chicago Sky. But then, you know, she did only have 7 points before that, 9 points before that as well, and then also against Chicago before had 10 points. So Marina Mabrey hasn't really been on a great streak as of lately, and we are expecting that cold streak to continue on. So when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also are favored for the under as well. So Marina Mabrey, 16.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Leonie Fiebich. Now, as you all know, Leonie is a fantastic player for none other than New York Liberty. And she has done a fantastic job so far this season, actually averaging 9.1 points, 3.7 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and also 0.9 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at this matchup, we do know Leonie Fiebich does face off, and New York Liberty do face off against none other than Connecticut Sun coming into this matchup. So it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. But looking at where they actually do rank, starting off with, you know, New York Liberty, we have seen them do a fantastic job so far this season. However, they have fallen quite a bit when it comes to the most recent games. Now, New York Liberty do find themselves in the number 5 spot in the WNBA, but also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. Now, as I mentioned before, they have fallen quite a bit. At one point, they were actually ranked 2nd, and they have been on a little bit of a bad run as of recent, while other teams have been able to catch up. Now, looking at New York Liberty, they do have a record of 22 wins and 15 losses. That is actually a 59.5% win percentage, and on top of that, they are 14-5 at home, 8-10 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now, obviously, coming into this matchup, we do know, looking at, you know, New York Liberty, they have done a decent job, and they are continuing to try to push for a playoff spot, and they do face off against Connecticut Sun. Now, Connecticut Sun are a little bit of in a different situation, because Connecticut Sun do actually find themselves in the 11th spot in the WNBA. Now, they are in the same conference, so they are in the Eastern Conference as well. They do actually have a record of 9 wins and 27 losses, and not only do they rank 11th in the WNBA, but on top of that, they also rank 5th in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a 25% win percentage there, and on top of that, we also do know that they are also 6-12 from home, 3-15 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Leonie, we have seen him do a fantastic job. But coming into this matchup, looking at Connecticut Sun and where they do rank defensively, Connecticut Sun do rank 10th when it comes to points allowed. They rank 10th when it comes to assists allowed, and they rank 11th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So they actually do rank very, you know, poor in all 3 categories, and that's why coming into this game, we do very much like the actual over for this situation here. Connecticut Sun throughout the whole season has always been a pretty poor team. Their defense hasn't been that great, and on top of that, both of these teams are pretty fast-paced in that sense. So we are expecting a lot of pace from both of these teams for sure. Now, coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. Now, looking at Leonie over the last 5 games, we definitely have seen some pretty interesting stat lines from her. We did see on the 14th, she actually faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, and in that matchup had an 83-77 loss. Actually had 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists in that matchup. And then on the 17th, faced off against Minnesota Lynx, where he had an 86-80 loss with 7 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists there. After that, on the 20th, faced off against Minnesota, had an 85-75 win with 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists there. Then on the 22nd, faced off against Chicago, had a 91-85 loss with 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. And then against Atlanta on the 24th, had a 78-62 loss with 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at Leonie Fiebich and New York Liberty, they have definitely done a fantastic job, throughout the season. However, coming into this matchup, it's definitely looking like Leonie will have no trouble going on the over in this one. We definitely have seen her do a fantastic job time and time again, and that's why coming into this game, we should see a similar story, no doubt about it. So for that reason, definitely would keep an eye out for someone like Leonie Fiebich and her line. I don't think you really need to focus on points, rebounds, and assists. I think we'll definitely have the capability to see her go, on the over, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. So if her line is under averages, definitely keep an eye out for the over there. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Rachel Banham. So as you all know, Rachel, great player from none other than actually Chicago Sky. And we have seen her do a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 9.3 points, 1.6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and also 0.6 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Rachel, we have definitely seen her do a great job. But on top of that, what we also do see is that when it comes to Rachel, we have definitely seen her do a fantastic job for this team and really provide a lot, especially in the points and a little bit in the assist department. Now, obviously, Chicago Sky have themselves a very good matchup against none other than actually Las Vegas Aces. It is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. Now, looking at where both of these teams do rank, obviously starting off with Chicago Sky, we do know Chicago Sky, do actually rank 12 in the WNBA. So they rank very low. Now, on top of that, when you also look at their record, we also do know they have a record of 9-27. So 9 wins, 27 losses, a 25% win percentage, and are also 5-14 from home, 4-13 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it is definitely pretty interesting to see. Now, looking at someone like, Rachel and Chicago Sky, not only do they rank 12th, which is very low in the WNBA, but they also rank last in the actual Eastern Conference as well, which is a bit tough there. Now, coming into this one, we also do know when it comes to, Chicago Sky, they face off against the Aces, and then Aces do actually rank a little bit better. Now, Aces have surprised a lot of people because Aces do actually find themselves in a position where they actually do rank 3rd in the WNBA. Now, not only do they rank 3rd in the WNBA, but on top of that, we also have seen when it comes to, Aces, they have been on a pretty big streak. So before we talk about their streak, not only do they rank 3rd, but they also rank 2nd in the Western Conference specifically. And they actually have a record of 24 wins and 14 losses. That's a 63.2% win percentage. They're also 14-5 at home, 10-9 from away, and are currently on a 10-game win streak. Yes, you heard that right. 10-game win streak. So the Aces have been on an absolute tear as of recent. It's definitely paid off for them, greatly, because they now find themselves in the 3rd spot where, a couple of weeks ago they were actually in the 9th and 10th spot. So Aces have really been able to really turn things around, and it's definitely been a great job for them. And coming into this one, we do know when it comes to, the Aces and also the Chicago Sky matchup, looking at where Aces do rank defensively, we do know Aces rank 8th when it comes to points allowed, 9th when it comes to assists allowed, and then 9th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So coming into this matchup, we do very much like this situation for the over for someone like Rachel. Now, I would say, obviously, since Rachel does have a higher usage rate in the actual points and assist department. It may make more sense to actually focus a little bit more on those two, but I think overall we should see Rachel be able to go on the over in all three categories. Now, a big reason why I would say focus a little bit more on points and assists is not because of Rachel, but it's actually due to the fact that we are expecting PrizePicks to kind of have a line out for points and assists compared to rebounds, since Rachel does have a little bit of a lower usage rate there. So that's why coming into this game, we do very, very much like the over for this one. Now, looking at someone like Rachel, not only have we seen her do a fantastic job so far this season, but on top of that, we also do know when it comes to Rachel, we actually have seen her over the last 5 games definitely have some pretty big matchups, especially against easier teams. Now, when it comes to, you know, defending points, rebounds, and assists. But on the 14th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists there. Then on the 16th, faced off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 90-59 loss with 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists there. Then on the 20th, faced off against Seattle, had a 94-88 loss with 5 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists in that matchup. Then on the 22nd, faced off against New York Liberty, had a 91-85 win with 3 points, 0 rebounds, 2 assists there. And then on the 24th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had a 94-84 loss with 8 points, 0 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Rachel, we have definitely seen her do a fantastic job, especially against much easier defensive teams. And although Aces are on a 10-game win streak, and they do find themselves in the 3rd spot, they still rank very, very poor in the defensive end of things. So that's why coming into this matchup, we still do very much like the over for someone like Rachel Banham. So keep an eye out for the over for someone like Rachel coming into this game, whether it's points, rebounds, or assists. But I think more likely we will see a line out for points and assists there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Olivia Nelson-Ododa. So, Olivia Nelson, great player, as we all know, for none other than Connecticut Sun. We have seen her do a fantastic job where she now actually averages 8.4 points, 5.1 rebounds, 0.9 assists, and also 0.7 steals. So, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job there. Now, looking at someone like Olivia, we also do know when it comes to Olivia and Connecticut Sun, they face off against New York Liberty. Now, we have, already talked about this matchup already, but just quickly remind you again, Connecticut Sun do rank 11th when it comes to points allowed, but also rank 5th when it comes to the Eastern Conference specifically. Now, they have a record of 9 wins and 27 losses. That's a 25% win percentage there. They're also 6-12 from home, 3-15 from away, and are currently on a 3-game win streak. But on top of anything else, over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 4-6. So that's interesting to see there. Now, their matchup, New York Liberty, they are in the same conference, and they do actually rank 5th in the WNBA, and then also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference specifically. Like I mentioned before, 22 wins, 15 losses from them, which is a 59.5% win percentage. We've actually seen New York Liberty not do too well because they actually come in at, a record over the last 10 games of 5-5, so they haven't really done too well there. Now, when it comes to this matchup, obviously, as I've mentioned, Connecticut Sun, they do face off against none other than, New York Liberty, and it is going to be a good matchup there. But looking at Liberty defensively, although they are a pretty top-rated team, they still do rank 7th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank when it comes to assists allowed, they rank 8th, and then rebounds allowed, they also rank 13th. So, we actually do see Olivia Nelson faces off against Liberty, where Liberty do a very, very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists. And that's why we do very much like the over for someone like her. Now, I would definitely focus a little bit more on points and rebounds than anything else due to the fact that she does have a bit of a higher usage rate in that department. So that's why coming into this matchup, we do very, very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Olivia Nelson-Ododa. Now, coming into this matchup, we also do see over her last 5 games, she definitely has done a pretty good job. We did see on the 14th, faced off against Chicago, had a 71-62 win with actually 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists there. Then on the 18th, faced off against Indiana, had a 99-93 loss with 4 points, 2 rebounds, 0 assists there. Then on the 20th, faced off against Washington Mystics with an 80-69 win with 15 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. And then 22nd again, against Washington Mystics, had a 67-56 win with 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists there. Then most recently played against Chicago Sky, where she had a 94-84 win against them with 0 points, 1 rebound, and 0 assists. However, she did only play 8 minutes in that game. So, coming into this next one, however, obviously she does face off against a newer team in a sense that over the last 5 games she hasn't played them, but we still do very, very much like the over, especially in this matchup. As I've mentioned before, we are expecting a pretty fast-paced game, and as we all know, faster-paced games leads to more volume, and more volume means more opportunity for someone like Olivia Nelson-Ododa to go over on her line. So, as I mentioned before, keep an eye out mainly for points and rebounds, but we see a lot of value there to go on the over for someone like her. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about NaLyssa Smith. So, NaLyssa Smith, a great player, as we all know, has actually, averaged 7.4 points, 5.4 rebounds, 0.8 assists, and also 0.6 steals. So, she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, looking at Las Vegas Aces, we do know they face off against Chicago Sky coming into this game, and as we all know, when it comes to where they do rank, just to quickly remind you, Aces do rank 3rd in the actual WNBA so far, and they also rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. Now they do rank very well, and on top of that, they have a record of 24 wins and 14 losses, but on top of anything else, over the last 10 games, they actually have a record of 10-0. Yes, you heard that right. As we mentioned before, they are on a 10-game win streak. They haven't lost, any of their games in their last 10, and they've been on an absolute tear. Now, they face off against Chicago Sky, where unfortunately Sky have a little bit of a different story. The Chicago Sky find themselves in the actual 12th spot in the WNBA. They have a record of 9 wins and 27 losses. That's a 25% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 5-14 from home, 4-13 from away. However, over the last 10 games, they actually have a record of 2-8. So they've done a very, very good job there. Now, coming into this next one, we do also know when it comes to NaLyssa Smith, we have definitely seen her do a fantastic job. But what we also do know when it comes to it is that, looking at Chicago Sky defensively, we do know they rank 11th when it comes to points allowed, 11th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. They do rank a little bit better, but they still do rank 6th. So NaLyssa Smith and also, their matchup, which is none other than Chicago Sky, we are expecting someone like NaLyssa to be able to go over on her line. Even though they do rank a little bit higher in rebounds, we still don't see that being enough to, really affect NaLyssa Smith there. We still do very much like the over for this situation for someone like NaLyssa coming into this game. Now, when we look at someone like NaLyssa Smith, a big reason for, why we do like the over is due to the fact that she does have a really good usage rate in the points and rebounds department. Now, I think assists, you probably don't really need to, keep an eye out for, since we aren't really expecting a line from PrizePicks to actually release a line from that. But I think all other categories like points and rebounds, there's definitely a lot of value there. Now, looking at someone like NaLyssa over the last 5 games, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job. We did see on the 16th, faced off against Phoenix, had an 86-83 win with 7 points, 9 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then on the 18th, faced off against Dallas Wings, had a 106-87 win with 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, on the 20th, faced off against Atlanta, had a 74-72 win with 5 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Then on the 22nd, faced off against Phoenix Mercury with an 83-61 win. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists there. And then most recently had a win against Washington Mystics on the 24th at 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists there. So we definitely have seen NaLyssa Smith really pick it up, especially due to the fact that the Aces are continuing to try to push for an actual, playoff spot. They are on a 10-game win streak, and we are expecting, this sort of kind of usage rate to continue from NaLyssa Smith coming into this next game. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for someone like NaLyssa Smith coming into this matchup, but keep an eye out for the line. If the line is under our averages, then definitely look to go on the over.